Okay, Unit 8.2 test. Test is tomorrow. So the first couple are variation. So the first one says, assume y varies directly as x. Well, first off, our equation for y varies directly is y equals k times x. Directly means multiplication, and directly is x, so k times x. And so to find k, I would divide both sides by x, so k equals y over x. K is like your slope of our variation equation. So it says if y is 4 when x is 20, so y is 4 when x is 20. Well, if I simplify that in my calculator, I get 1/5. So I know k is 1/5. And it says find the constant variation. Well, there's my constant variation. So k equals 1/5. I've already done my first step. And then it says find the equation. Well, y equals is my equation. So y equals k, which is 1/5 x. There's my equation. And then it says find x when y is -3. So I'm going to rewrite this. And I'm going to replace y with -3. And I'm going to solve. Well, there's two different ways to do this. You can divide both sides by 1/5. I want to do it properly, which is to flip your fraction and multiply. So if I flip this, it becomes 5/1, which is just 5. And so that cancels, and I'm left with 5 times -3 is -15. So I get x equals -15. So here are the three things it wanted me to find. Okay, so number 2, again, is direct variation. So same equations. So y equals kx, and k equals y over x. It says assume that y varies directly as x, y varies directly as x. If y is 50 when x is 15. Again, type in my calculator. And I get 10/3. So I know k is 10/3. So again, that's kind of like your slope. So I'm going to plug it in. Ooh, give me a second. Okay, sorry, I had to help somebody get to the library. Okay, so y equals 10/3x. Knowing that, we need to find y when x is 12, so y equals 10/3x. X is 12, so y equals 10/3 times 12. Well, this is like a straight up calculator problem. So 10/3 times 12 is 40. And there are the three things it asked me to find. So that's direct variation. Now let's look at inverse variation. So inverse, remember, is when you divide. So y equals, if it inversely is x, so k over x. So then to find k, I would multiply both sides by x. So k equals y times x. So y varies inversely as x. We have this, and so k equals 63 times 3. And I get 189. So k equals 189. So y equals k, which is 189 over x. And it says find y when x is 9. And if I type that in my calculator, and I get 21. So y equals 21. Okay, so let's look at number 4. Same concept. Assume that y varies inversely as x. So we're still using those same equations. Oop. And it says if y is 6 when x is 2, so k equals 12. Therefore, if I plug it in, I get y equals 12 over x. And it says find x when y is negative 1. Well, y is negative 1. Okay, a lot of people messed this one up today. I want you to realize that you have to get rid of this divide by x first. You need to get rid of fractions. Well, the way we get rid of fractions is by multiplying. So we're going to multiply both sides by x, and I get negative 1, x equals 12. Divide both sides by negative 1, and I get x equals negative 12. So there's the 3 things I was looking for. Okay, so that's direct variation and inverse variation. So now let's look at solving. So this is solve for x and find the domain. I did not ask for your LCD because this one is set up for cross multiplication. So your domain is what x cannot be. Remember, we're kind of cheating and making it shorter, but remember, that's like setting your denominator equal to 0. So if you struggle with finding domain, you can literally take the 2 factors, there's 2 factors, and set them equal to 0. Well, x plus 2 equals 0, so minus 2 minus 2, x cannot equal negative 2, because that would make your denominator equal 0. And then x plus 6, so minus 6 minus 6, so x also cannot equal negative 6. And we write it least to greatest, so negative 6 comma negative 2. There is your domain. Okay, and now to solve and actually find x, we're going to cross multiply. So 7 times x plus 2 equals 5 times x plus 6. And we're going to distribute, so 7 times x, and then 7 times 2 is 14, equals 5 times x, and 5 times 6 is 30. And now we have no squareds, so we don't have to make it equal 0. We just have x with no exponent, so we need to get x on one side and my number without x on the other. I personally like to move my smallest x first, so minus 5x. And I get 2x plus 14 equals 30. Now I'm going to do minus 14 minus 14. And I have 2x equals, what is that, 16? Yeah. Divide by 2, and I get x equals 8. Well, I said that x cannot equal negative 6 and negative 2. It didn't. So x equals 8, and there's my answers. Okay, this one is the one that y'all struggled on the most today. So again, finding our domain first. Okay, well, if I set my denominators equal to 0, 3x equals 0, divide by 3, x cannot equal 0, and then x squared equals 0, square root, x cannot equal 0. So x cannot be 0. Pretty much when there's no adding or subtracting and there's a variable in the denominator, it's just going to be 0. And we cross multiply. So I get 12x equals x squared. Well, I have something squared this time, so I can't just solve for x. I have to get it equal to 0. So minus 12x minus 12x. I did not want to move my x squared because remember, x squared has to be positive. So 0 equals x squared minus 12x. Now, I only have 2 terms, so I can't do the box. And it's not a perfect square. 12 is not a perfect square because, first off, it has an x, and 12 is not a perfect square. So, but it has a GCF. They both have an x. So I can take that GCF out. And now it's fully factored. So we separate our 2 factors and set them equal to 0 and solve. Add 12, add 12. And so my answer is 0 and 12. Well, x cannot equal 0. So remember, our answer that doesn't work, we put in parentheses after our solution. Okay, number 7. Okay, so it says find the LCD, solve for x. So let's start with our LCD. Well, first off, I need to factor this because it's squared. Well, this is a perfect square minus a perfect square. So x squared gives me x squared, and 2 squared gives me 4. So it's x minus 2, x plus 2. So that's what that equals. Well, this has an x plus 2. This has an x minus 2, so my LCD is going to be x minus 2, x plus 2. So I need to make all of my denominators look like that. Well, this one already does, so I don't change anything. Not on top, not on bottom. This one has x plus 2. It needs the x minus 2, so I multiply on bottom x minus 2 and top x minus 2. This one has x minus 2. It needs the x plus 2, top and bottom. And now I have x minus 2, x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 2, x minus 2, x plus 2. So they match, so we can cancel all of our denominators. And we're going to solve the top. So 4 times x plus 2 minus 2 times x minus 2. Be careful, that's what a lot of people messed up today. Equals negative 8. And then before I keep going, my domain, x cannot equal, well, what would cancel? A negative 2 is a positive 2, and a positive 2 is a negative 2. I showed y'all how to find it mathematically if you forget on the last two. Okay, and then now I'm going to solve. So 4 times x is 4x. 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 2 times x is negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. And all of that equals negative 8. And now I'm going to combine like terms. They're on the same side, so they get the same sign. 4x minus 2x is 2x. 8 plus 4 is 12. And nothing's squared, so I'm solving for x. I'm not making it equal 0. So minus 12, there's no x's over here, so I'm going to get everything away from my x. Divide by 2, and I get x equals negative 10. Well, x can't be negative 2 or positive 2. 10 is fine, so x equals negative 10. Okay, this next one is very similar, except it's not a perfect square, so I'm going to go ahead. A is 1, so I don't have to do the box, but I just have to do my x. A times c is negative 15. B is negative 2. So that's going to be negative 5 times positive 3. Gives me 15 and adds to give me 2. So this becomes x minus 5, x plus 3. Well, this has the x plus 3, but it needs the x minus 5. This has the x minus 5, but it needs the x plus 3. So my LCD is x minus 5, x plus 3. And my domain is x cannot equal negative 3 or positive 5. Because that's what would make these equal 0. Okay, so lastly, solve for x. So x minus 5x plus 3, x minus 5x plus 3, x minus 5x plus 3, they all match. I canceled them. And I'm going to solve. So 2 times x plus 3 plus 5 times x minus 5 equals 16. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 3 is 6. Plus 5x minus 25 equals 16. And then combine like terms. So I get 7x, and then that gives me, what, 19? Negative 19? 6 minus, whoop. Yep, negative 19. Well, I have nothing squared, so I don't need to make it equal 0. I just need to get x by itself. So plus 19, plus 19. That gives me, what, 35, so 19 plus 16, yep. Divide by 7, and I get x equals 5. Well, I said x can't be 5, so that doesn't work. Therefore, my only solution doesn't work. Therefore, there is no solution that works. And so my solution that doesn't work is 5, goes in parentheses, and there's no real solution. All right. Flip to the back. And I have number 9. So this one is similar. So again, we're going to factor. A is 1, so 1 times negative 8 is negative 8. B is 2, and it's going to be positive 4, negative 2. Multiplies to give me negative 8, adds to give me 2. So this one already has the minus 2, but needs the x plus 4, top and bottom. This one has the x plus 4, but needs the x minus 2, top and bottom. And now all my denominators match. So my LCD, because it says find LCD, is x plus 4, x minus 2. Therefore, my domain, x cannot be negative 4 or positive 2. Okay, so these cancel. And I get x times x minus 2 minus 4x plus 4 equals 11. So x times x is x squared minus 2x minus 4x minus 16 equals 11. X squared minus 6x minus 16 equals 11. Well, I have a squared, so I need to make this equal 0. So minus 11 minus 11. So I get x squared minus 6x minus 27 equals 0. And now I factor. So this one I do have to factor. So a times c is negative 27. B is negative 6. What multiplies to give me negative 27 adds to give me negative 6 is negative 9 and positive 3. So this becomes x minus 9, x plus 3. And then remember, I separate my two factors and set them both equal to 0 and solve. So plus 9, x equals 9, minus 3, x equals negative 3. Well, negative 3 is not there, 9 is not there, so they both work. So there are my solutions. Number 10 is very, very similar. We got to factor this denominator. A times c is negative 4. B is 3. So it's going to be positive 4, negative 1. So the minus 1's already here, so this needs x plus 4. This needs x minus 1. So my LCD is x minus 1, x plus 4. My domain, x cannot equal negative 4 or positive 1. And then solve for x. So these match, cross them out, and I have 3 times x minus 1 plus x times x plus 4 equals negative 15, and I solve. So 3x minus 3 plus x squared plus 4x equals negative 15. Combine like terms. These are my only like terms. I'm going to put it in order. So x squared plus 7x minus 3 equals negative 15. Well, again, I have x squared, so I need to make it equal 0. So plus 15 plus 15. X squared plus 7x plus 12 equals 0, and I factor. So it's going to be positive 4, positive 3. And then I separate. And I solve. Well, I said it can't be negative 4, but it can be negative 3. So remember, your answer that doesn't work goes after your solution in parentheses. Okay, so those are the same type of problem. Let's look at 11 and 12. They're also the same types of problem. So here it says find your LCD. Well, I have a 3, an x, and a y. Nothing of them already is in common. So I'm going to multiply them all together. So it's just 3xy. And then I need to solve for x. So this needs the 3 and the x. This needs the y and the x. And this needs the 3 and the y. That's a y, sorry. And well, now all my denominators have a 3xy, 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 so I can cancel them. And I have 1 times 3x plus 1 times yx, or xy, equals 1 times 3y equals 3y. And now, when what you're solving for is in 2 different places, you have to take it out as a GCF. So when I take it out, I'm left with 3 plus y equals 3y. Well, I need to write that in proper order, so I'm going to rewrite it. These are both positive, so when I flip-flop it, it doesn't change. It's not like subtraction. And here's what I have. And well, I'm going to divide by what I don't want, which is the y plus 3. Well, remember, plus and minus makes things stuck like glue. So this does not cancel the 3's or the y's because this is y plus 3 and this is 3 times y. They're not the same. They don't cancel. So I get x equals 3y over y plus 3. So 12 is very, very similar. My LCD here is 5xy. So let's solve for x. So times yx times 5x times 5y. So remember, the same thing I did on the bottom is what I do on the top. So this is 5xy, 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 so I cancel. And I have 1 times xy, which is xy, plus 2 times 5x is 10x, equals 1 times 5y is 5y. Again, x is in 2 spots. We take it out as our GCF, and we have y plus 10 left. And we divide y plus 10, y plus 10. I know I put that in parentheses. You don't have to. These cancel, and we get x equals 5y over y plus 10. Okay, last type of problems. If you look at number 13, it says an experienced bricklayer constructs a small wall in 3 hours. An apprentice completes the job in 7 hours. Find how long it'll take if they work together. Express your answers in hours and minutes. So the experienced guy can do it in a total of 3 hours. The apprentice can do it in 7 hours, and together, dang it, okay, we can see that. It's unknown. So let's think about it in a 1 hour time span. Well, in 1 hour, if it takes him 3 hours, in 1 hour he'll be a third of the way done. The apprentice will be a seventh of the way done, and together they'll be an unknown amount of the way done. So 1/3 plus 1/7 equals 1 over x. My LCD is 21x here because 7 times 3 is 21. There is no other number that's smaller than that on this one, so you just multiply them together. So times 7x times 7x times 3x times 3x times 21 times 21. Now the biggest mistake people make here is they forget about this x. Since this guy has an x, this needs an x, this needs an x. So be careful with that. So now 21x, 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 cancel. 1 times 7x is 7x, plus 1 times 3x is 3x, equals 1 times 21 is 21. Well, that is 10x equals 21. Okay, so divide by 10, and I get x equals 2.1. Well, that's 2.1 hours. It says hours and minutes. So what you're going to do, so we know 2 hours, and you take your decimal, so 0.1 times 60 minutes in an hour. So it's 6 minutes. Okay, so the next one is Oh my gosh, losing my verbiage. Can't even think about it. Okay, Mary has saved $17.50 in the past 3 weeks. At this rate, how much will she save in 15 weeks? So, we know that we're going to set this up as fractions. This is a proportions problem is what I was about to say. So weeks, I'm going to put weeks over money. Now you could have put money over weeks, which is fine. But I just thought about it this way. So 3 weeks over $17.50 for money equals how much will she save? So how much money, we don't know, in 15 weeks. And let's cross multiply. So 15 times $17.50 equals 262.5. 262.5 equals 3 times x is 3x. Divide both sides by 3. And I get 87.5. So that's money. That's how much money she'll save in 15 weeks. So 87.50 is proper way to write money. Okay, last one. This is distance. A semi-truck travels 300 miles in the flatland. So 300 miles in flatland. And in the same amount of time travels, so we know the times are the same, 180 miles through the mountains. The rate of the truck is 20 miles per hour slower in the mountains than in the flatland. Well, we don't know the rate in the flatland, so it's x, that's our unknown. But slower would be x minus 20 for the flatland. I mean the mountain, sorry. Find both the flatland and the mountain's rate. Well, we don't know if these aren't equal at all. We've already been told they're not equal. But we know the time is equal. So we know distance equals rate times time. So if I wanted to find time, I could divide both sides by rate. And I go distance over rate equals time. So distance over rate. Distance over rate. And I know these are equal. So 300 over x equals 180 over x minus 20. And we cross multiply. So 180x equals 300 x minus 20 negative 20, so it's just going to be negative. Okay, now here's another place I've seen a lot of people make mistakes. I have x's on both sides. I usually tell you to move the smallest, but if I move the smallest, I can't solve for x because they're all on the same side. So you are going to move the biggest. So 180 minus 300 is negative 120. So I'm going to bring this over here. So I have negative 120x equals negative 6,000. And I'm going to divide both sides by negative 120. Well, 2 negatives makes a positive, so negative 6,000. Negative 120 is 50. So I know x equals 50, but I'm not done. Find both the flatland rate and the mountain rate. So what's the speed in the flatland and in the mountain? Well, x is the speed in the flatland, and x is 50, and we write speed miles per hour. And then the mountains is x minus 20. So 50 minus 20 is 30, and then miles per hour. Okay, so that is your review. Good luck. Work hard, show all your work. Let me know if you have any questions.